When you're in your 50s and 60s, the phrase nursing home can still sound almost reassuring. 3 meals a day served on time. Nurses just a button away. No more worrying about slippery bathtubs, forgetting to turn off the stove, or dragging the trash cans down a long driveway in the rain. It feels like a soft landing, a place where someone else takes over the small, exhausting details of daily life so you can finally rest. But when you actually cross that threshold at 80, when the door closes behind you with a soft final click, the illusion shatters. You realize your day is no longer yours. Your hours, your meals, your baths, even your silence. They belong to someone else's schedule now. Listen to me. If your body had been built to last until 120, that single decision can quietly amputate the last 20 years of real, self-directed living. Those final 2 decades, sometimes more, become dictated by routines you didn't design, by people who mean well but don't know the texture of your memories, by a building that smells faintly of bleach and boiled cabbage, no matter how many air fresheners they plug in. At 80, most people still have no true idea what the darker side of a nursing home feels like. They see brochures with smiling residents in sunny day rooms. They hear promises of activities and safety. But they don't yet feel the slow, invisible erosion of dignity that begins the moment your name becomes Room 214 instead of Salvatore. The 6 words I feared most in my entire life were these: Dad, we think it's time for you to go in a home. My name is Salvatore Benedetto. I am 108 years old. I never wanted my children, my son, my daughters, my grandchildren to have to speak those words to my face. I never wanted them to carry the guilt of saying them. I never wanted to watch their eyes fill with tears while they tried to convince themselves and me that it was for the best. In this video, I am going to share with you the 4 decisions I made deliberately, stubbornly, and early enough so that line was never spoken in my house. If you begin making even 1 or 2 of these same 4 choices now, especially while you're still in your 50s and 60s, there is a very real, very practical chance that you will never need a nursing home at all. Not because you'll live forever in perfect health, but because you'll have built a life that can carry you safely to the end in your own home on your own terms. Decision number 4. Plan for the decline before it arrives, while you're still strong enough to execute the plan. This is a decision nobody wants to talk about. It's grim. It's unpleasant. It forces you to stare at your own mortality while you're still healthy enough to feel immortal. But it is the single most powerful act of self-respect you can perform. You're going to get weaker, your balance will falter, your grip will loosen, your knees will complain on stairs, your eyes will struggle with fine print. Pretending these things won't happen is exactly how people end up in emergency rooms, signing consent forms they can barely read. In rooms they never chose, surrounded by strangers who call them sweetie, because they don't know their real name. When I was 75, still working part-time in the shoe shop, still walking the neighborhood every morning, still driving myself to the grocery store, I sat down and made changes to this house while I could still laugh about them. I had grab bars installed in the shower stall and beside the toilet, not because I needed them then, but because I knew one day I would. I removed every loose rug that could catch a toe. I widened the doorways just enough for a future walker or wheelchair, even though at the time I could still dance if the mood struck me. I installed brighter, cooler LED bulbs in every lamp so shadows wouldn't trip me up at night. I replaced the high kitchen cabinets with pulled-down shelves so I wouldn't have to climb a step stool for a can of soup. Most importantly, I gathered every critical document into one single clearly labeled file box. My will, durable power of attorney for healthcare, living will, advance directive, list of medications, list of doctors, funeral wishes, bank account information, insurance policies, and a handwritten letter explaining my values and priorities for end-of-life care. I sat my children down one Sunday after dinner. No drama, no tears, just facts, and walked them through the box. I told them exactly where it is kept. Second drawer of the whole cabinet, red label on top. I gave each of them a duplicate set in their own homes. That one afternoon of uncomfortable honesty means that if tomorrow I fall in the garden, if I have a stroke, if I simply wake up one morning too weak to stand, we follow my plan. Not panic, not a hospital social worker pressuring them to make a decision quickly. Not a hurried move into a facility because it's the only option left. My wishes are already written, known, notarized, and respected. No one has to guess. No one has to feel like they're betraying me. If you're in your 50s or 60s, do this now. Don't wait until you're 78 and the handwriting shakes. One file box, one honest conversation. It could be the difference between dying in your own bed surrounded by the scent of your own coffee and dying under fluorescent lights in a place that never smelled like home. Decision number 3. Never let loneliness move in, because loneliness is the real front door to the nursing home. Isolation doesn't begin with a building. It begins in the silence after the last goodbye. After my wife Gloria died, this house became so quiet it physically hurt my ears. The absence of her footsteps, her humming in the kitchen, her voice calling my name from another room, it was louder than any argument we ever had in 50 years. I knew with absolute clarity that if I let that silence grow, if I stopped answering the phone, if I stopped going out, if I let days pass without speaking to another soul, people would eventually stop calling. Then one afternoon, my son or daughter would come over, find me staring at the wall and say the words I never wanted to hear. Dad's not coping. We need to put him somewhere safe. So I made a non-negotiable rule for myself. Every single day, I must speak out loud to another human being, not a text, not an email, a real voice, a real conversation. I call my grandson every Wednesday at 7 p.m. No exceptions. We talk about baseball, school, girls, his dreams, my old stories. I play cards at the senior center every Friday afternoon, even when my hands shake a little and I lose every hand. I volunteer once a week at the public library to read aloud to children. Simple picture books, silly voices, their laughter is medicine. I am, proudly and unapologetically, a polite nuisance in people's lives. I call old friends just to hear their voice, even if the conversation lasts only 5 minutes. I wave at every neighbor and stop the chat even when I'm in a hurry. I refuse to let loneliness rent space in my home. Staying connected is cheaper than any prescription and far more powerful than any emergency call button on a wall. Loneliness is the quiet invitation that convinces families you can't manage alone. Lock that door while you still have the strength to turn the key. Decision number 2. Treat your brain like a muscle. not a museum. Piece that only needs dusting once a year. If your mind grows dull, people stop asking what you want and start deciding for you. That's how you lose the very last of your choices. The day I retired from the shoe shop at 78, I didn't sit down to rest. I gave myself a new job. Stay interesting, stay curious, stay sharp. Every morning I read the newspaper cover to cover, not just the headlines, the editorials, the obituaries, the letters to the editor. I do the crossword puzzle, even when it takes me 2 days and I still leave 3 squares blank. I argue about books with people half my age at the library discussion group. I watch documentaries about subjects I know nothing about. Quantum physics, deep sea exploration, ancient civilizations, and I force my brain to keep up. I learn new words every week and use them in conversation. I try new recipes, even if they fail spectacularly. I ask questions like a child. Why does the sky look like that today? How does a bird know which way is south? When you stop learning, you start shrinking. Your world gets smaller and smaller until it fits inside your living room, inside your chair, inside your own head. And when your world is that small, a nursing home starts to sound reasonable. A sharp mind is your final unbreakable line of defense against being treated like a child in a place you never wanted to live. Don't let your brain become a dusty trophy on a shelf. Use it. Challenge it, feed it, keep it alive. It is the last muscle that can still carry you home.
Decision number 1. Never stop defying gravity. If your legs go, your freedom goes. It's that brutally simple. Your body is a use it or lose it machine. The day the chair wins over a short walk to the mailbox, the countdown begins. The day you stop carrying your own grocery bags, the day you let someone else push your cart, the day you accept that getting up from the floor is too hard, that's when the nursing home starts whispering your name. I walk every single day. Rain, shine, cold, doesn't matter. I walk the block. I walk the garden path. I walk to the corner store for milk even when I don't need milk. I do my own light chores, dusting the shelves, folding laundry, watering the plants on the porch. I carry small bags of groceries up the steps instead of asking for help every time. I stretch in the morning. I stand on one leg while brushing my teeth, just to prove I still can. I practice sitting down and standing up from a chair without using my hands. I'm not trying to be an athlete at 108. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm simply sending my body one clear daily message. We are still in service. We are still needed. We are not done yet. Movement keeps you out of the bed. It keeps you out of the wheelchair. It keeps you out of the building where someone else decides when you're allowed to sleep, when you eat, when you shower, when you can go outside. That's it. 4 decisions. 4 choices made early, repeated daily, held stubbornly. The difference between keeping your name and becoming room 214. The difference between living in your own living room until the end and waiting for a nurse to answer a buzzer. 108 years old, and I'm still in mine. If you don't want to spend your final years staring at someone else's wallpaper, pick one of these 4. Start today, right now, while you're still strong enough to mean it. And tell me in the comments below, which one are you going to fight for first? Which one feels hardest for you right now? I'm listening, and I promise you, Your future self is listening too. Don't wait until the door closes behind you to wish you'd made these choices sooner. You've been warned. Now go decide.